Ready to roll.
Welcome back to Sportsbeat. I'm Rob Drumm. We're live here today, what is March 9th, in the beautiful My Little Falls studio, and I'm here with our producer, Dave Warner. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing fantastic. What's new with you?
Not much. Weather's nice.
Oh, I know, it's great.
Sunroof was open. Heat was still on, but sunroof is open, and we're getting there. I have my driveway back.
Oh, really? I never lost mine, but
I the front of my driveway was okay, except the apron, but the rest of my driveway is nice to see it back again. So spring is on the way.
Perfect.
We have another great show for you today, and we're keeping up with a promise that we made when we started, saying that we're going to cover every type of sport, including esports. So joining us on our first Zoom or our first live webcasted interview is a good friend of mine and the coach of esports at Herkimer College, Josh Lanza. Josh, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Rob. Thanks for having me on the show. It's great to be here.
Not a problem, man. Really glad to have you. So first, we always like to try to start with, like, how did you get where you are? And I know we're both St. Francis kids. We're both Herkimer kids. We both went to Herkimer College back when it was HCCC. So talk about how you got from, where you went and how you became the coach at Herkimer.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. And as you've known me for a long time, as you said, back for our St. Francis days there, Rob. So you also know that I am an alumnus of Herkimer College. And after I graduated from Utica College with my bachelor's in English, I wanted to get my foot in the door with higher education. So I was able to land a part-time spot at the college's academic support center. And I worked there for a few years. And as soon as I got there, even on a part-time basis, I applied to become the gaming club advisor. I was always active in the gaming club as a student at Herkimer College, and I wanted to, give back at becoming an advisor. So I worked there for a while. I got a full-time position at the Academic Support Center, was still advising, and then right before COVID happened, this was the spring of 2020, Don Dutcher, the athletic director, comes up to me and says, "We're looking to put together an esports program, and I know you're heavily involved with the gaming club. We want to see if you can get some of your students also involved in this esports thing." And so we had this focus group meeting with Don Dutcher, my club, the administration, and other members of the student body who were interested possibly in doing this esports thing. And this was early February of 2020. And then, as everyone knows, in the middle of March, it's coming up on the 1-year anniversary here when our world got turned upside down and everybody was told they had to go home. So that kind of put a short-term kibosh on the esports idea back in the spring of 2020. But in late spring, going into May, SUNY decided, we needed to do something to keep our students active. Let's have an esports tournament. So I decided that I would gather students who were interested in esports, who'd shown that interest in February around then, and kind of lead the charge at getting involved in this SUNY level tournament. They had one in the late spring. They had some games again in the summer, and they did it again in the fall of 2020. I had been actively going around doing the esports thing there in the fall as well. Don Dutcher had been taking note of that. And there had been a call for an esports position at the college, a head coach position there. I threw my hat in the ring. But long story short, the funding that SUNY was going to match for Herkimer College didn't come through due to COVID. So necessity was the mother of invention here. And both myself and Frank Drapolsky, who is our IT programmer at the college, stepped up to become co-managers of this team. And between the two of us, we have enough knowledge of the video games that the NJCAA offers to effectively coach the games that students signed up for. So here we are in the spring of 21, and we have an active Smash Brothers team, we have an active Fortnite team, and we have an active Call of Duty team. That's what we were able to muster up, on short notice. But despite being under the gun, deciding to get our feet wet on this national stage just this semester, we were able to put together, 3 full rosters, and I don't think that's anything to sneeze at.
No, not at all. Considering, COVID, like you said, and you guys are coming in at the back end. You know, we've talked to a couple other guests here throughout our, you know, evolution of our podcast here, and COVID has, you know, negatively, I think almost entirely negatively impacted sports all over the place. I think
Yep.
esports is that one corner, that one island, so to speak, where COVID may have been a silver lining because people are home. We're seeing what you can do remotely, how you're going to digitally interact with some people. And I would dare to say that COVID, in some cases, may have helped the esports world kind of grow a little bit. Whereas if it was still normal, you would still kind of have the normal stigma that's around it. Because I know when we were talking, you know, pre-show, you know, people really do have this stigma when they hear esports. They think, oh, you know, just a bunch of people playing a video game kind of thing, and that's really not what it is.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point you bring up there, Rob. And I understand, people's hesitation to like include esports in something like athletics, because let's be honest, you're not running, jumping, or climbing, or doing anything what people would consider physical activity. Therefore, how could you possibly be athletic? I understand that line of thought. But the truth is that if anyone wants to be a good esports athlete, they have to take physical fitness seriously, number one. And that's something that I promote amongst my esports players, because if your body's healthy, your mind's healthy. And if your mind's healthy, you're able to make good decisions. And what people might not realize is that as an esports athlete, you're making a lot of the same type of decisions and strategizing in the same way a traditional athlete would. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say you're playing a game of basketball, right? And I'm a basketball player. Any basketball player at any given point in the game has a number of decisions they make when they get the ball. Do they dribble? Do they pass? If they pass, to whom? Do they shoot? If they shoot, where do they shoot from? Do they take a 3-point long? Do they do a 2-point jumper? Do they go for the layup? On defense, are you playing a 2-3 zone? Are you playing man-to-man? All sorts of decisions under the duress of time. Well, esports has the same kind of thing. If I'm an esports player, every press of every button I make to command my character to do something in a game is a decision, and it's often under the duress of time. So I have to choose in the most efficient manner what I'm going to do with my game at any point along the game. So it's very similar to a traditional sports athlete in that respect. And again, if I'm going to make the best decisions possible, I got to make sure my body and mind is as healthy as can be. And that's why I promote these healthy lifestyle activities.
And that's a really, good point is, time is a universal factor in everything, and especially within the sports world. And, and being not obviously a gamer as heavy as you guys would be doing what you're doing, but my cousin went down, I think, a couple years ago to Red Bull Stadium when they were doing one of the tournaments down there, or Madison Square Garden, sorry, when they were doing one of the big tournaments down there for League of Legends and Call of Duty. And I mean, some of these people, when they're showing you the pre-production kind of storyline that they're putting together, the training for some of this is just as stringent as some of the, major sports athletes that are out there in NBA, NFL, whatever. They're getting up in the morning, they're doing some kind of physical exercising, as like you've mentioned. Healthy eating is a huge thing. And then, they're gaming out and the one thing I always thought was interesting, and I'm glad you brought it up, is everybody has the stigma around it that you're sitting in a chair in front of a TV all day just gaming out. And that's not really the thing, because you point out, you have to be able to counterbalance the fact that you're sitting in a chair all day. You've got to be able to do something to keep that balance there. Because if you were like me at one time in my life, 400 pounds sitting in front of a chair for 8 hours a day, downing Mountain Dew and chips, you're not really going to be good to your team. Because I think Mike Golick was the one who said it, the best ability in any sport is availability. And if I'm, something happens to me because of my health, I'm no longer available for my team. I'm no longer producing. And I think that's an interesting point that you bring up.
No, that's exactly right, Rob. And it's like you said, you have to have a training regimen that, we work with our students on a regular basis to make sure that, they are keeping up with the most effective tactics available, or otherwise known as the meta in gamer slang, making sure they understand their matchups and such. It's a lot of training, but I also emphasize that I don't want any of my students playing their game of choice for more than 2 hours a day. And here I'll tell you why, because you get decision-making fatigue, okay? After that 2-hour mark, there's diminishing returns as to how much you are actually intaking, your brain is processing, and you are learning. And eventually, after that 2-hour mark, you're just kind of playing the game on autopilot and not really synthesizing what you're doing right and wrong in each match. So that's why it's like you said, you got to strike a balance there in order to be a successful gamer and, be the best you can for your team,
And, back in the day when we were in college together, we used to be in alumni hall. You guys would be at one end when, with the TV in the one corner, or multiple TVs in some cases. What does it look like now when you're training? Because I doubt it's, first off, I doubt it's just, couple people with one TV on the cart. So what does the training look like? How do you guys set up? Where at the college do you guys train? Is it all remote right now? What's the future look like? Dive into wherever you want with that one.
Yeah. So right now the training is not as formal as we would like it. Of course, COVID has kind of put the kibosh on that. We've had to rely on students with their own personal resources at home. Right now, most classes are offered via real-time remote. That means students are logging in through Microsoft Teams to their classes at a designated time. So, for example, I'm a music appreciation professor as well. So if my class is at 2:30 to 3:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's when a student would log into their computer and meet with me for that hour 3 times a week. So most of those classes are getting offered that way. There are a few classes, just a handful, that's getting offered on campus, like the lab sciences or some art classes. But the majority of students aren't on campus right now, Rob. So we've had to make do with the materials that they have, and they're kind of on their own schedule to practice. It's not like we can say, "Hey, your practice time is from 4 to 6 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday." Of course, we can't do that because they've already made their schedules, and kind of how we birthed this program for the NJCAA under the gun. We kind of did it a little backwards, but here's what's coming down the pike. So it's not going to stay like that forever. We are planning on developing an esports facility in our technology center building on campus. It's going to have state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line stuff, Rob. We're talking, the best computers money can buy, Nintendo Switches for Smash, and TVs that, with high-speed internet, the best that we can do. And the only reason it didn't go into effect was, as I touched on before, we had a match program with SUNY. So we were going to put up X amount of dollars, and SUNY was going to match that. And that's how we were going to build these facilities. However, SUNY had to pull that funding due to COVID. We're in talks of getting that funding back.
And what games and other platforms do you guys hope to expand to? Are you guys going to just keep it to the ones that you mentioned earlier in this interview, or do you guys want to expand into getting into some of the more, I know, and I'm not 100% current, but I know League of Legends at one point was, the one game that everybody in the world was playing. I know World of Warcraft is making a comeback to some degree. Fortnite obviously is not going anywhere. Where do you guys hope to expand into, or do you just want to make it like Novocaine and keep working on those and just get better at the ones that you have now?
Well, Frank and I both said that at the onset of this, we'd like to cast the widest net possible in order to catch the most fish. So that means if, let's say I'm a Fortnite player, I know we're playing Fortnite right now, so that's probably not the best example. Let's say I'm an NBA 2K player. That's one that we still want to push. And I play NBA 2K, and like I said, the games that we're playing right now are Fortnite, Super Smash Brothers, and Call of Duty. But I'm an NBA 2K player, and I'm thinking about where to go to college. I'm a senior in high school looking to graduate. Well, would I come to Herkimer College if your esports program doesn't have what I'm looking for? Maybe not. Maybe I would choose a different college that actually has the esport that I specialize in.
Right.
So we're saying we would like to keep it up as open as possible to those games like FIFA, NBA 2K. Of course, there is a list that the NJCAA regulates, and unfortunately, actually, League of Legends is not one of them.
Really?
Yes. So let me explain for your listeners at home and for you how things work here in esports world. Unlike a game of basketball or football, where you have the NCAA that regulates these things, and you have a football field or a basketball court, and you have a ball, you just go there and play with the regulations, right?
Right.
Not so cut and dry with esports. Esports is more at the mercy of the video game publishers. So in the case of League of Legends, that's Riot Games, right? If we're talking Overwatch, it's Blizzard, Epic Games for Rocket League, so on down the line.
Right.
Anyway, Riot is kind of protective of their property, and they haven't allowed the NJCAA to officially regulate tournaments with their licensed property. From what I understand, the NJCAA is in talks with Riot about kind of working something out. But for right now, if you want to play League of Legends, and we do play League of Legends at Herkimer, by the way, we got a lot of league players. It's just not in the national capacity. We're still playing kind of at the club level with that.
Right.
And if Riot has a tournament that they're offering, we sign up for that. So that's what's going on with League. League is not going anywhere. It is the most popular game in the world. And we are still, trying to get League of Legends players to our college, because guess what? A lot of the ECAC division, the upper level universities who are developing an esports program, they offer League of Legends for them. So it's an NJCAA Riot issue for that. But there are 13 other games that are supported by the NJCAA, and that, of course, we didn't fill out all of them this semester, but we said between Frank and myself that we have the capacity to work with all these games should we get students interested in them.
And that's pretty cool too. And I mean, one of the things that I see, not in the gaming world per se, but as a entry level gamer, I guess, that I can hold my own to some degree and probably get my butt handed to me and the others. Gaming is still universal. People have this thing that there is a specific type of person or persons that play video games. And that's just not the case anymore. I know a bunch of people that, if they're a soccer fan and in between they're rocking FIFA, if they're a basketball fan, like you talked about, it's 2K. Football fan, I know, every year Madden comes out. College or the college football is dropping a new game whenever they get to it with COVID, who knows? I'm old school. Halo is still one of my top video games that I've ever played. I absolutely loved that game. I love the world that was created by Bungie and now 343. I have my reservations to some degree, but that's an offline conversation. But there is a game for everyone. I mean, my dad still could probably rock Tetris on his old gray big Game Boy and everything. I talked to a friend earlier today on my way in, and rocking the 3DS with Pokemon Y. So I mean, there's gaming for everybody. It's just to what level, I guess.
Right. So again, there's different tiers of things, and I'm not going to be the kind of coach that says you're not cut out to play esports. I will never say that to anyone. Everyone is invited on my team. And though you might not be competitive enough to get on that national stage yet, if you want to put the work in, Rob, you will get there. Okay. I'm telling you right now, the beauty of esports is that we can have the most diverse coalition of students that traditional sports simply just can't produce. There are no physical limitations. There are no gender requirements either. I'm so proud to say that our team is co-ed. We have been successful in recruiting both female and male students. And that's a big shift that I've seen over the years. You see a lot more female student athletes getting involved, and it's a wonderful thing, to say that what was, and still is to an extent, a male-dominated environment, they're making way for, and giving respect to these female esports athletes, that are working together with other students on the team. It's something that I drilled home really with our institution. I said there is no men's esports and there is no women's esports. It's just esports.
Right.
And that's how I want it to stay.
On the SUNY and doing everything that I've done with SUNY in my career before I was where I am now, I get how that all works. SUNY campuses are playing other SUNY campuses, and you got your own little internal.
That's right.
We kind of did that with the March Madness mascot challenges and all the other little challenges that came around when Chancellor Zimfer was there, and those have kind of held the test of time. Where you said you're on the national stage, what other universities are playing? Obviously Herkimer's a 2-year. I'm sure there's got to be some of the major universities in the country that are offering.
And even in the state, a lot of SUNY schools are there.
Right.
As far as D1 goes, we haven't had much experience with that because we're a little school, and
right.
most of the schools we deal with are D3. So, but yeah, I would assume a D1 esports league is going to be burgeoning very soon. It's the future. So if a student body at any given college has an esports program, they are going to generate retention there. It's an opportunity to draw students to your institution, and that's going to translate to a financial boon for most universities.
How have you guys, and again, we just touching, but in more detail, how have you guys gotten around the stigma of what it is to esports? Sometimes selling it to administration, outsiders, other stakeholders that aren't necessarily fully involved. How do you, what's your co-coach that you have there in IT, what was your guys' plan for when you guys were doing the pitch for this? I know you said Donnie came to you. I'm sure you had to be in a room or talk and put together some kind of pitch at some point, or you have to pitch other people. What's that look like to get it, you got the people that have their preset ideas and preconceived notions of what it means to be a student athlete in esports. How do you break that, and then how do you pitch that it's something that's valuable?
Yes. So, fortunately, speaking for Herkimer, our administration has been great about starting this program up. And like I said, Donnie came to me and asked for my help in this, and he is 100,000% behind this, and there's no need to convince him or pitch anything to him. There wasn't. He was on board from day one, and most of our administration, if not all of our administrations, is on board with this. So I've been blessed with that, and I'm thankful for our institution for that. If there is, some sort of pushback about it, I try to explain it in the ways that I explained it to you, Rob, that our athletes and traditional athletes aren't that different in what they have to do and what's expected of them to do. And it's just like any other student athlete, they are students first. And my day job at the Academic Support Center, I see to it that our students are remaining eligible and keeping up with their studies and doing everything that's expected of our traditional student athletes as well, and I'm here to try to bridge that gap as much as possible.
And that's, that it's always good when you have the administration on your side, and it's not surprising to me being, up at Herkimer at one point in my life that's still, the mantra that's there. And it's great to see that Donnie has embraced that and the administration has done that, because I agree with you 110%. This is the future, because it takes down the physical requirement for sports, but it adds something for everybody. Because, I think personally, and I was thinking about this on the drive over here to Little Falls, I think you could have soccer players that play, Pepe does a great job of recruiting soccer players from all over the world to play at Herkimer College now. I'm sure you could get some of them that could rock out at FIFA just fine.
That's true, Rob. In fact, we had one player who is currently residing in Norway, had to stay there due to COVID restrictions, ask about playing FIFA for the team. And Frank and I both said, please join us if you can. Unfortunately, the way time zones are and how meets are, his matches would have been at like 2 a.m. Norwegian time. So it just wasn't feasible this semester for him. But just like you said, he's not an isolated case. There's plenty of them out there. And any college administration should see this as a win-win. Okay. This is a chance for students to build a greater campus community, feel like they're a part of something that they may not have had the opportunity to feel a part of otherwise. And in the college in turn, it's revenue. It's retention. It turns into dollars and cents. So that's why I'm saying this is the moneymaker of the future. And it's a way for students to get involved and feel like they're part of a campus community.
And let's be honest, there's sometimes not much going on around campus if you're not going to the basketball game, or, it's late at night, or it's a Saturday and student activities isn't on an off weekend. So you guys are filling the void, because at the very least, I know back in the day when we were up there, everybody was playing a video game if you didn't have something to do. But now you've done it where you're giving them a sense of community, a sense of a team to do something, and you're providing that structure when they were already going to go back to their dorm room or their apartment anyway to do exactly what they're doing with you.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
So promote what you got to promote. I know you said you got some stuff coming up on, you got your SUNY stuff coming up. So go for it.
Okay. So right now for this semester, we, like I said, have 3 active teams running. We have our Call of Duty team and our Fortnite team. Those teams are playing on Monday evenings, with the Call of Duty playing at 6 and Fortnite's matches at 7. Our Super Smash Brothers team is playing at both the SUNY level and the NJCAA level. Our NJCAA meets are every Tuesday at 5 p.m. and our SUNY meets are every Tuesday at 8 p.m. You can find us on the web if you want to watch our games. It's so convenient to watch our games now, Rob, because you can just tune in to the internet. As long as you have the internet, you can watch. If you go to twitch.tv/Herkimer_generals_esports. We are streaming our games as they happen. So you get to see our players play in real time, just like any other sports game, from the convenience of your own home.
And we'll throw that link up there. I know you've sent me the link. We'll throw that link up on our Facebook page once we get out of here.
Yep. And anybody who's looking to be involved in Herkimer esports, if you're thinking about Herkimer College and you're thinking about joining our team, we'd love to have you. Please inquire with our admissions department. They're going to send you right to me and Frank, and we'll be getting in touch with you right away. We don't delay on that. So tell us what you're playing. Tell us what you like to play. And we look forward to meeting you.
Cool. Well, Josh, thanks, man. It was great talking to you. This was kind of something that a bucket list item for this podcast, because we said that we were going to talk about esports too, and we've held that promise. So look forward. We'll have to have you back sometime, especially when you get that new facility built and everything. When COVID is over, we'll come up to the college and do something with you up there.
Oh, I'd love to have you, Rob. Love to have you there.
Do a remote.
There we go. We'll do that.
We'll do that.
They've got the IS up there that we can plug in and go.
Now we can do this.
Great.
Oh, we love it. We love it. Thank you so much to the both of you for having me tonight. It's been great to be here.
Josh,
I learned a lot.
It was great. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye now. Thank you.
And we're going to go to commercial and come back on the other side for Press Box.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of Little Falls, New York. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, and our events calendar. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling stories about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of local residents and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store or sign up for our weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
That's pretty cool. Like, you don't think of it, and I know because I've talked with him and a few other people before, but you think of esports, and you immediately have the idea of it's just a bunch of people sitting around a TV or on their own TV or whatever, and it's always good to, the physical aspect is good, healthy body, healthy mind.
Yeah, I had no idea that was part of it. I mean, I'm looking at Josh's chair there, and he's rocking a nice chair there,
Right.
gamer's chair. I
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
That. We're a little rough here.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I kept thinking of when I was watching him. But no, the physical aspect, it's good that they've worked that in. I like that.
Yeah, and it makes sense too. His point about, and I thought it was awesome. He's dropping the basketball knowledge when he's dropping the gaming knowledge. Totally true. I mean, if you got 30 seconds to shoot, conference tournaments are coming up this weekend. I've been watching a bunch of those. You got 20 seconds left. You got to figure out what you're doing. You got to break a defense. I'm sure the same kind of stuff happens. You got 20 seconds left. You're down by 2, kills or whatever you're playing in Fortnite, and you got to get there. How are you going to get there? It's the same concept, and he's right.
The other stereotype was the fact that gamers sit there for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours just eating snacks, and he's got them limited to 2
hours.
That was really interesting.
And you would never think, we go to work, we do our, thing. You're there for 7, 8 hours, involved in elections. I'd be chained to my desk doing repetitive same thing for 10, 12 hours at a clip, doing registration processing. And it's a valid point. Diminishing rate of return after 2 hours, he said.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
That was cool.
And I can't wait to see the facility they built. COVID hopefully is over. And
yeah. I just don't understand why the Norwegians can't play at 2 a.m. in the morning. Is it, I don't know what's wrong with it. Gamers, I thought they could play like any time.
I know a buddy of mine who also streams to Twitch. He works as a chef. He'll come home and he'll stream for a couple hours, and then I don't get it. And now I don't drink soda anymore after my surgery, so I can only imagine how much Mountain Dew that requires. But
yeah, soda's bad for you no matter what.
Well, that's true. So in our press box segment, and again, we're gonna, coaches and staff, please start sending us your scores along when you report for media. Our email address is sportsbeat@mylittlefalls.com. We'll say that again, and we'll put that in on Facebook. But that's sportsbeat@mylittlefalls.com. We would love to have that. We'll cover that in our local roundup section that we do as part of Press Box. So we got just a couple local scores here. Dodgeville falls to West Canada, 60-53. I believe that was the home opener for them. Cooperstown beat Richfield Springs, 62-43. This is boys basketball as well. Fonda Fultonville, let's try that one again.
3 times.
There we go. Beat OESJ 51-37. And Amsterdam beat Canjo 79-43. And over on the girls' basketball side, Canjo beat Fort Plain 47-29. And Amsterdam beat Fonda Fultonville 66-52. So that's the local scores. Herkimer's coming online, or Herkimer County's coming online. I know Herkimer has their girls' home opener, I believe, is Friday that we're there, and then boys are next week. So things are online for Herkimer County.
Hey, I'm excited for me. The girls' basketball varsity here in Little Falls.
Yeah.
Playing the first home game Friday night, and I'm covering it. I'm
Nice.
like, yes, finally.
I was looking at, and we'll look at just at, sports around the country, and there's places that 18 months, 400 something days, and I know John was talking about it when we interviewed him. The time,
49 weeks, he said.
And we'll get to it when we talk to Cuse lacrosse, but they let students in for the first time in 17 months. It was the first time for a lacrosse meet over the weekend.
Wow. Crazy.
We're going to start with Diamond Dogs. They've been red hot lately. They've signed 3 more players. John Archer, who's a pitcher. He's D2 out of Thomas Aquinas. We have Andy, and I am not going to even try to say your last name because that's just not going to work for me. Pitcher D2 out of St. Anselm College, and Sean from the same. And all pitchers. Big week for pitchers.
Yeah.
And staff. It was reported in My Little Falls. Lou Parada is back as the voice of the Diamond Dogs for his 10th season.
We got to get him on the show because he's a wild man.
Great. Public address announcer again for his 10th season back. And Don Corbin from UC is one of their athletic trainers adding to that staff. So Travis is red hot. He's moving. Yeah. He's getting there.
Hey, you know what? It goes quickly. We're in the middle of March now.
Yeah.
And, then it's April, and I mean, the end of May.
Yeah.
It's not that far away.
Yeah. I got to make sure my boat's ready to go. So when the snows or the ice is gone in the lake, it goes right back in the water.
This wasn't about boats. This
was
baseball, right?
I know.
All right. You lost me there.
That's all right. Jumping over to Cuse basketball. They're on the bubble. Would it be March Madness without Cuse sitting exactly on the bubble? They're 8th in the ACC with a 9-7 ACC record and 15-8 overall going into tournament play. They beat Clemson last week on Wednesday right after our taping. They'll close the break. They closed the break against Clemson, leading by 3, but pulled away in the second to close it out and take the win. They're going into ACC play tomorrow. Would it be March Madness without Cuse on the bubble? He picks winners. Sorry, it's gonna be the standing joke.
Let's not start.
Cuse fans, you know what I'm talking about. So I was talking Cuse lacrosse. They hosted Vermont, the Catamounts. Senior goalie put on a clinic. Watch part of that game. Absolute clinic with a career high 20 saves. Just absolutely phenomenal day. Offense had a collective stellar day as well. They were 17 for 32 shooting, but they're at the X. They just didn't do well. 10-34. They pulled out the 17-13 win, and like I said, they welcomed fans for the first time since last year sometime. So nice to see and they were students. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Students and it looked like some parents and stuff like that. But if you're going to do it, that's your fan base.
Yeah,
I know the
get those
donors
kids
are
in
there. Yeah, absolutely. And they will be playing Stony Brook for the first time on Friday at the Dome. So Dome is still open. Lacrosse is going. Jumping over in college world, but we're going to stay over at Herkimer College for bowling. Women have finished second in their division, moving up. I know the coach, Tony DeLuca, is doing a great job improving week to week. Alexis Garrison had a 694 series, and Sienna Kenyon had a 689 series. So pretty close there in that, and they're doing good. Men are on fourth. Tim Coolin had a 928 series, and David Cook had an 871. Both of those are higher than probably any series I ever saw, and they're back in action on Thursday. UC hockey, Ray Biggs was here, and he's talking about hockey and everything coming up, and some, I don't want to say bad news, but is some of the side effects, I guess, of COVID. They halted a game, the men's hockey game the other night in the second period, after the second intermission, rather, due to positive COVID cases. And they haven't finished it. They were up 5-2 against Elmira College. And when I looked just last night and then again this afternoon on lunch, they don't have any plans to make it up. So it's going to be interesting how that goes. And, actions have consequences. UC has canceled the women's basketball season after the investigation of an off-campus party led to the COVID spike. 18 students were sent home and transitioned back to remote learning. The press release that was put out said there was 20 positive cases with 100 students at a party off campus. I get regulations are what they are, but I think Travis said it the best the first week when we started off, just do the right thing. That's not the right thing, and actions do have consequences, and that's unfortunate to see that the whole women's basketball program got canned for the year, and especially seniors. I wonder how that's going to work for them. But
well, I'm sure they were sitting there saying, look, we told you guys what the rules were.
Yep.
And
actions have consequences. Yep. And Ray was right. They've done a great job in rolling out what the regulations are, and they've been very upfront. Looking at how they've done it, just, and good for them. Not, actions have consequences. You got to hold that line.
Yeah.
Men's basketball is opening up Friday, March 12th against Utica College. I believe that's an away game down there. And women's lacrosse is opening tomorrow versus the RIT Tigers. They were 4-0 last season, red hot. And when play got halted, obviously that's where it ended. But they I guess finished last year with a 4-0 season, red hot. A lot of returners. Looks like the women's lacrosse team is going to be another red hot season. Let's hope we can add some more to that. So, again, coaches and staff, please include us in your sports reporting. Again, it's Sportsbeat at mylittlefalls.com. We will post that. For updates and highlights throughout the week, find us on Facebook at Sportsbeat, weekly podcast with Rob Drumm, or we're going to try to be creating a Twitter if we can get through that. So we'll post that handle and have that for you next week. Hopefully all goes well with that. You got to love all this. Prove that you're real. Like, yes, I'm real.
Make a Twitter.
Yeah.
Just gotta make a tweet, right?
Yeah, I want to tweet on my Twitter, but I can't do that yet. For all your local sports, news, and our podcast home, find us at mylittlefalls.com. For Rob Drumm, here with Dave Warner. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, see ya.